Hey team, hope you're all doing well. Today's topic, I wanted to go over a question I was recently asked, and the athlete asked, how do I break an 11-minute mile? So how do I pace an 11-minute mile? And obviously the mile, because it's a highly anaerobic event, you're really gonna have to focus on your overall leg speed. The shorter the race, the more oxygen carrying capacity, and the more you really have to focus on improving your body's lactate tolerance versus a more aerobic race like the 10-mile, half marathon, marathon event. An 11-minute mile is the equivalent to a 34:06 5K, a 1:08:12 10K, 2:24:06 for the half marathon, and 4 hours and 28 minutes and 12 seconds for the marathon event. To break an 11-minute mile, it's the same for an athlete trying to break a 4-minute mile. You have to get very accustomed to training at very intense paces, running at paces that are significantly faster than an 11-minute mile pace in training. So if you're doing 800-meter reps on the track, you want to get to a point where you're first starting off your training block, say a 12 to 16 week training block. Focus on doing those 800s at threshold effort at around 5 minutes and 35 seconds per rep. Or if you're more anaerobically fit and you're further along in your training buildup, focus on getting those 800s down to around 4 minutes and 37 seconds per rep. It might be 5 to 8 800-meter reps running at 437 per rep, 535 per rep in the early buildup, with say a 2-minute rest when you're not very fit, and running at 535 per 800 rep. And then when you're very fit, when you're further along, say you're maybe 6 weeks into a 16-week block of training, or 6 or 7 weeks, then you're doing those 800s, say at 437 per rep, with only 45 seconds to 60 seconds of recovery in between each rep. Okay, the same goes if you're doing 400s. Okay, if you're doing, like, say you're training for the mile and you're doing 8 400s, you're doing double the distance of your goal of breaking 11 minutes. You want to first start off doing those 400s at around 2 minutes and 25 seconds per rep, with say 2 minutes of recovery early on when you're not very fit, and then dropping that down to maybe doing 10 to 12 reps, 400-meter reps, running at 211 per rep, with only anywhere from 45 seconds to 60 seconds of recovery in between each one of those repetitions. So the key is progression. Okay, focus on first running around 4 weeks, easy, relaxed, aerobic running. Do not focus on doing any type of speed in the early stages. Again, you have to walk before you can crawl. So first, build your aerobic base first. And then as you start getting very fit, start doing hill repetitions. What I do with my athletes that I work with one-on-one is we focus on doing hills every other week. Okay, so it might be a tempo run one week, and then the following week might be hills. But it's usually a combination of, especially if you're training for the mile or the 800-meter, 2-mile, 5K events, you definitely want to be focusing on highly anaerobic training. Okay, repeat 200s, repeat 1200s. Okay, if you're starting off in the early stages of your buildup, a 200, doing 8 to 10 200-meter reps in a minute and 12 seconds to a minute and 14 seconds is where you should be focusing on. Okay, and you want to give yourself more rest when you're not very fit. Okay, because you're not going to just jump out on the track and be doing really fast repetitions, and to be able to handle very short amounts of recovery in between each one of those reps. So first start off running slower reps with more recovery, and then when you get very fit, okay, and the example of doing the 200s, you're starting off at about 112 to 114 per rep, and it might be 60 seconds to 2.5 minutes of rest in between each one of those 200-meter repetitions. Again, 200 meters is not very far, but when you're trying to run very fast and you're not very fit, it's going to feel very far. Okay, but later on, when you've put in more mileage, you've been very consistent with your buildup, you've built a strong foundation of easy mileage first, and then you've started to build up your intensity and your volume, then you want to start doing those 200s and say 105 per rep. Okay, and you're doing more reps, you're doing them faster, and you're giving yourself much less recovery in between each one of those reps. It might be 30 seconds to 60 seconds of rest, and you're running them at 105 rather than 112 to 114 in the early stages of your training. So I hope that makes sense. Um, yes, you definitely do not, you still want to do long runs, but as a miler, you don't have to run 20 to 25-mile long runs, or 32 kilometers out to, 40-kilometer long runs as a miler. Okay, a good long run as a miler might be anywhere from 5 miles out to around 16 kilometers, out to around 10 miles. Okay, but you want to first slowly build up your endurance first, and then gradually increase the intensities of your long runs. Okay, to run a sub 11-minute mile, you have to focus on really drilling down on that third lap. Okay, most of your competition is going to be the weakest in that third lap. They're waiting till the last lap to really start to make a move. Okay, so really you want to maintain your pace, and if you can, pick up the pace in that third lap and really start to make your move 300 meters out from the finish line. Someone trying to break an 11-minute mile is just as impressive to me as somebody that's trying to break a 4-minute mile. Okay, we all have different capabilities, we all have different physiological makeups, and for someone such as yourself, breaking an 11-minute mile is going to be just as difficult as someone that's going for a sub 4-minute mile. The same philosophy stands for somebody trying to break 4 minutes as versus somebody trying to break 11 minutes. It's pace sustainment. And if you're running too much of your weekly volume too aerobically, too easily, it's going to be very hard to get out on the track and run 1,609 meters under 11 minutes. You have to make sure that you're training at paces that are well below that. So Dr. Jack Daniels is someone that I follow, and the paces an athlete trying to break an 11-minute mile needs to be thinking about is easy pace should be anywhere from around 12:20 to 12:30. Threshold pace should be around 11:10 to 11:15 per mile, or 6:59 per kilometer. If you're running interval effort, you should be running those interval efforts around 9:42 mile pace or around 6:02 kilometer pace. If you're doing repetition effort, so you're running at practically all out effort, you want to be running around 9:18 mile pace or around 5:47 kilometer pace. So that's kind of some of the things I want you to be thinking about as you're going after that sub 11-minute time barrier, that sub 11-minute mile time barrier. Focus on first building your endurance, running at least 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks of easy aerobic mileage, and do strides. Be doing 3 to 5 100-meter strides twice per week. Again, you don't need to be doing an all-out sprint for 100 meters during those strides, but just a gradual increase in speed until around the last 20 to 30 meters of that 100-meter stride should be run all out. Okay, you want to always be focusing on speed development, working on your endurance. That speed development is key because you want to recruit more fast twitch muscle fibers. You're not going to be able to do that if you're running easy aerobic mileage. So to break an 11-minute mile, train at paces that are down toward around 9-minute mile pace or around 5:50 kilometer pace. That is key. That's what's going to help you to get that 10:59 mile time to become a reality. And it has to start here in the mind first. So if all you're doing is focusing on physical training and not preparing mentally, not spending a few minutes each day during that 12 to 16 week buildup, seeing yourself getting across the finish line with 10:59 on the clock, or passing people or running at much faster pace on that last lap, and seeing yourself passing people and running strong and running confident, that is absolutely essential too to breaking the 11-minute mile barrier. So I hope this is helpful for you in answering your question, Joe. And if there's any other questions you all have, whether it's breaking a 5-minute mile or running a marathon under 3 hours, or whatever goal you have, leave a comment below. Like this video, share it with other athletes. Definitely, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so when I make a new video, you'll be notified of it. And I will definitely respond back to anybody that leaves a comment on any of my videos. Check out the resources below in the description of all my videos, as well as on RunDreamAchieve.com. That's there for you to help take you to the next level in your training. So I wish you all the best, and I look forward to hearing about your sub 11-minute mile barrier that you broke.